Hey, what is up to the PHNX Mercury podcast viewers? My name is Erica Lee Day. I'm joined by PG1, QB1, on and off the field, in and out of the studio, on and off a birthday today, and he might get mad at me for saying that, but nonetheless, I have to say it. If it's PG1's birthday, I have to acknowledge.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I'll tell you for like the fourth time today. Happy birthday, man.
Appreciate you, Gil.
We have to give him a shout out. He's all of our ball knower. I couldn't be anything without him. Couldn't do this show without him. So shout out to Steven for John Garner for being born on the day after 6-7 day. Because frankly, who wants to be born on 6-7 day? Not me.
Definitely
but
not me.
we're also joined by Gil McGregor himself. I am going to leave the jokes to the side for just the day.
That's fair. We'll take it. Yeah, that's fine. No complaints.
Good. How you guys doing today on this fine Monday evening while we are missing the NBA finals? I'm so sorry for my scheduling malfunction. I have to do better in the future of checking these things. It's just not something I think about, I'll be honest with you guys. And so that's on me, truly. Next time, I promise I got you. I would never do this on a WNBA final, so I don't know what made me think in my right mind we should do this on an NBA finals day. We all deserve to be watching the miraculous game 3 that Carter Bryant's about to have on our television. So I am sorry to both of you. I hope you guys catch it as quickly as possible. Shout out to Kevin for pushing the X's and O's, driving the bus, pushing 1s and 2s, keeping us on the track if one will. But shout out to all of you guys also in the comments for joining us live. We've got Dylan, Deborah, as always, tapping in, David, Laura. I don't know who else is here, but be sure to leave a like, thumbs up, 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe to PHNX Sports while you guys are here. There's an excellent Sun show. I hear the AZ Wildcats podcast is getting better and better and better as the days go by. D-back show, I mean, who misses Derek? I don't know anybody that misses Derek because we all watch him every single day. So just subscribe to the pod while you guys are here. And then boom, it's going to notify you every time we go live. You can't miss a thing. You get to see Johnny and Bo going crazy about the cards. It's a place you just want to be, okay? So just subscribe while you guys are here. Nonetheless, though, shout out to all of you guys for joining the PHNX Mercury podcast. Oh my gosh, my brain actually left the chat for a second, but it is back. The Mercury are coming off of, for the first time this season, back-to-back wins on the season. And I'll be honest, this is kind of to Steven in particular, like, it is kind of painful to say that. I'll be honest. We're 12 games into the season, and to say this is the first time the Mercury have gotten back-to-back wins does feel kind of, for lack of a better term, treacherous.
Yeah, that's an understatement. They're not where they need to be. I think they've turned some corners of late, as in over the past 2 games. But the game prior to these last 2 was the absolute worst showing of the season. So it's okay to acknowledge the growth that has taken place recently while also contextualizing it properly and seeing that it came after their worst game. And one of their best games of the season was their most recent game without their 2 best players, which I don't think is by accident. So there's a lot to dive into on that front, but it's good that they are starting to turn corners because, needless to say, they've been well overdue for Mercury basketball to actually look a little bit more like Mercury basketball.
I think the thing that's important to remember, and obviously, like, there's a standard that this team is expected to play to, and they have not been at that, and they are getting closer to that. But it's better that we're saying, oh, they finally won 2 games in a row than us still saying, man, when are they going to string some wins together? When are they going to find a way to win multiple games in a row? Or it's us saying it a month from now, they finally won 2 games in a row. So obviously we wish it would have happened quicker than games 11 and 12, but at the same time, at least it happened at games 11 and 12 and not 21 and 22 or not happening at all. So it's something for us to kind of latch on to be positive about and look forward, because I know it's going to get tougher, and I know we're going to talk about that as well. But it's good to have the type of momentum that they have at this point.
I totally agree, and I think this is I won't say the perfect time in the season for it to have come, because obviously everyone on this podcast would have loved for it to come sooner. But at the same time, like you said, Gil, like you'd rather it now than in 10 games or 15 games or God forbid
never.
30 games. And at that point, it's a little too late to turn the page, right? And like this team has talked a lot about trusting each other. And, with a team that has Alyssa Thomas and Kalia Copper on the page or on the team, you're never really going to see the roster hang their heads. Those aren't two hang their heads individuals. If you know anything about them, they don't hang their heads. They just get back in the gym, do better the next time. And obviously they missed the last game against the Portland Fire, but that being said, like that game against the Seattle Storm wasn't nothing. It wasn't nothing to write home about. It was something. And like you said, Gil, like it is something to kind of hold on to. And like as a fan, there hasn't been a whole lot of positives to kind of hang your hat on and say, well, at least this happened. We've all like been guilty of over the last 10 games being like, oh, well, remember when they beat the Aces in the season opener? Well, like you don't have to remember that so much now because there were two back-to-back good victories against teams that are good. These teams, we hear about this all the time and like you laugh if you want to, but like any team in the WNBA can win on any given night. It doesn't matter where you are in the standings. And so to win any two games back to back is a stand for where you are as a team. And like to then also obviously go into Portland without Kalia Copper, without Alyssa Thomas, and win that game to go down to the Portland Fire late in the game and stick in that game, show your kind of veteran leadership with albeit DeWanna Bonner, Natasha Mack. Even I don't even know if we're allowed to call her a veteran just yet, but I feel like at this point she is such a veteran leader of this team. She's one of the longest standing members of the Phoenix Mercury, her and Kalia Copper. So I think they're in a really good place. And like I don't want to talk about moral victories too much, but again, like I said, like they've talked so much about trusting each other and not hanging their head that I can feel confident. And like Dylan said, saying that this is a quality win over Portland, albeit shorthanded.
And not for nothing, right? Like it's small wins within the big victory themselves, right? Like you add it to the win column while also learning things and showing yourself what you're capable of as far as dealing with some adversity that comes your way, dealing with injuries, players missing, dealing with losing leads, trying to claw back or maintain and hold on to leads. But the biggest thing of it all, and it doesn't matter who you're playing against, winning on the road is hard. In all sports, but specifically professional sports, going on the road, you're not sleeping in your bed, you're playing in front of a crowd that's not cheering for you. They're actively cheering against you and cheering against for you to not succeed. So, who you do or don't have available to you, you have to dig deep and find something a lot of ways to win on the road. And I think that's what's so important, and we're seeing this team bond, and sometimes that's just what the doctor ordered. You go on the road and you have an opportunity to bond as a group and do the team building that's important off the court to have that chemistry on the court. And I think that, regardless if they can get one more, maybe even sweep this road trip, which is getting greedy, you build a type of momentum that you need to build and move forward. And this could be something that swings the season. It's too early. I'm not saying that it will, but if they can continue to be successful on this trip, then it can.
Yeah, I think that's a very relevant point to them spending time together because you can't just go home.
Yeah. Yep.
Even if you go home, you're going back to the same hotel or whatever the situation is that they're staying in while they're on the road. So I think that matters a lot too. And I don't know who it was. It might have been Sammy that posted a picture of them spending time. Yep. Everybody was there. I don't know about the coaches.
Sammy and Lexi both posted some stuff like that. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. All the players were there. Everybody was in attendance. And I think that stuff matters for a team that not only has continuity to continue on with things that they showed to do last season that was proved to be also almost the ultimate success in terms of winning a championship, but for a team that's been reeling in the recent stretch to start to iron out some of those things that might be in the way, whatever that might be. And not always about talking about looking at film and who did right, who did wrong, who was late on the assignment, who missed the rotation. Like, some of it is just building that trust, like just having human-to-human connection. Yes, they're humans. Mm-hmm. Forgot about that part. Like, it's not just computer pieces that you're pointing at that have to be here and there. Like, if those relationships are where they need to be, it's a lot easier to have those difficult conversations in the face of adversity because there's trust there.
And it reinforces that the group likes each other, right? Like, not that there was any one of us saying, oh, man, I want to team chemistry is bad and they don't like each other or they're mad at each other or whatever, but to see that physical reminder, because we've seen a lot of different teams in all different sports, and when a team doesn't like one another, it's very evident pretty quickly. And this is just the mark of a team that likes one another as people, which oftentimes is the important first step to figuring it out as teammates and players, and they are putting the work and the time in to take that step. So you should be encouraged by that because they're working through the issues together, and I think that is the sign of a group that's going to be willing to continue to do that.
To all of your guys' points, if you guys have not seen Shea Carter's recent Instagram story, I implore you to go watch it because I actually was laughing my rear end off about it about 10 minutes before this podcast started. I had to put my phone down, touch some grass really quick because Shea, Sammy, Marta, Mac, and one more, and I don't want to say it wrong, so I don't remember who it is. I'll be honest, but 5 of them, they made me wheeze. So shout out to them for holding the Merc content fort down for me in the interim while they're away on the road because I love to laugh and they supplied me with a great one in the midst of their absence in Phoenix. But obviously, I want to talk about DeWanna Bonner to start us off today because I feel like a lot of things, even last season, kind of bleeding into this season, have been said, spewed, whatever you want to say about DeWanna Bonner. But at the end of the day, DeWanna Bonner is a tone setter, and I think that kind of speaks to her leadership style. She isn't ever going to ask someone on this team to do something that she is unwilling to do. And she's going to put her best foot forward in every single sense, every single night. It doesn't matter if the Mercury are 0-19. DeWanna Bonner is going to be exactly herself on the court, do exactly what she thinks is best for the team. And when she came out versus the Portland Fire, she obviously hit that 3 off rip, but like that 3 spewed into the defensive end because then the Mercury feel more comfortable, more confident in falling into those, defensive sets that they have. And so I implore everyone at the bare minimum to please actually watch the games because DeWanna Bonner is the 3rd all-time scorer in the WNBA now. She is one of the greatest of all time, and so we should appreciate. It's one of those things, right, where like you watch this player and you're like, man, she's getting kind of old, and I can totally understand that take, and there are takes to be had about that. But at the same time, like, she is one of the greatest to ever put on a Mercury jersey, and it's now year 18, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and she is still exactly who she's always been. Shows out in this game versus the Portland Fire with 19 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and like it again was more than the points. She makes everyone around her work harder, and that is an intangible thing that you cannot teach, and she has it, and she implores it upon other people to try to share her wealth, for lack of a better term, with the rest of the team around her. And again, that's just kind of an invaluable trait that you can't like undervalue this day and age of the WNBA. And so I just want to give a huge shout out to where DeWanna Bonner is at in her career. Obviously, I have been, Gil was on the podcast with me last week and we talked about it in the post game. Like, you need more from her in these games, and she gave more in this game versus the Portland Fire. And obviously more was expected of her with the absence of Kalia Copper and Alyssa Thomas. But that's what you want from players of her caliber, is to step up when needed, and that's exactly what she did.
Yeah, I mean, she only sat for 7 minutes. We're talking about a player that's not on the young side of the spectrum in terms of basketball age. And I put that respectfully because there's a reason why she's still playing. It's not because she's just been around. She's still good. I think the 19 points matters. That led the game in scoring. That led the game in scoring. But also 5 stocks for DeWanna Bonner. I feel like defensively she got it going against Seattle. And once she got her feet kind of underneath her defensively, it bled into the offense. And then it just became impact on both sides in that fourth quarter where they held Seattle to 10 points and ultimately won that game on the terms that they want to, in terms of their defense just kind of leading the way. And then the other part of it, too, in this most recent game, we saw DeWanna just continue that on but do it in a more dependent manner. It wasn't just I'm doing this in addition to Kalia and AT. It was I'm doing this as one of the most integral pieces because this is what the team needs. Only sitting for 7 minutes, again, that's not easy to do at all. And she's just flying around, and she's just kind of making decisions to help everybody else be successful on that end, and you can feel her impact because of it.
I'm glad you mentioned Seattle because that's where it starts. first off, we had a lot of conversation, you and I, Eric, and I know you just mentioned it, about, needing to do more. And something that you and I talked about, Stephen, was that, listen, this is, the later stages of her career. She's been doing this for a really long time. And something that she said is that, look, I got to play myself back into the shape that I want to be in. I got to play myself back into the rhythm that I want to get into. And I think that requires patience from us and from the fans. And there was that pick six I mentioned at the end of that Seattle game where she got the steal, went for the layup, and it was a massive play. And her stat line doesn't jump off the page as much as the one in Portland does. But I think that the seeds were planted during that game against Seattle. So I think that she built on that, and that's so important to look at it, because once this team gets back to full strength, they're not going to ask that much of her, which it's good that she reminded us that she can do that every once in a while at this stage in her career. But when the role is back to where it probably should be, and they're still figuring out what makes the most sense as far as the lineups and rotations go, it's good to know that she's capable of that, because when less is asked of her, you can trust her to do that. So I think this is a big stretch for DB to just kind of continue to find that rhythm, play into the rhythm that she talked about, play into the shape that she wants to be in, because you're thinking bigger picture that by game 23, game 24, that she'll be in that exact spot, and she's playing the exact role that she needs to be in.
A telltale for me what I could tell she really turned the corner. Like, it was the Seattle fourth quarter. We start there, first and second and third. After that, though, we look at the Portland game. There was a block she had. DeWanna is not a church mouse on the basketball court, but she's only not a church mouse in a competitive kind of sense when she's really engaged and locked in and in her rhythm. There was a block, one of her blocks, the under the basket microphone caught her screaming, "Give me that, you know what?" And that was the telltale for me. It was like, okay, DeWanna's not just back. DeWanna's also being herself more. And I think that speaks to just comfort. You're usually going to be yourself more when you're comfortable, when you're in some type of rhythm and some type of alignment with what the team is doing and also your individual game. And it felt like she had that, and that was just a kind of tangible moment that you could grasp on and you can kind of see and hear to like be like, okay, yeah, I think she might be getting closer to back than what she was in those first 10 games or 11 games prior to the Portland matchup.
Well, and like both of you guys said, like, she doesn't have to do that night after night. It's not going to be consistently expected of her, especially like when Dylan says in the comments, like, seeing Wickham back training with the team, or at least traveling with the team, has been super promising. Getting her back with the team is going to be a momentum builder, period, point blank. I don't know if you guys saw my little argument on Twitter today that I clearly won. But nonetheless, this team that we're watching right now is not the same iteration of the Phoenix Mercury that we watched beat the Minnesota Lynx in the semifinals last year. It's just not. And so, watching Sammy come back and give what she has to give on top of DeWanna Bonner is, that kind of puts me and Steven back in the embarrassment of riches category that we talked about all season last year. And like, it's been tough to talk about that this year, but that is the reality, is like, you're going back to having quite a lot of scoring options. And if DeWanna Bonner is comfortable, it leaves the Phoenix Mercury in a super great spot in terms of, again, scoring options.
Yeah, Erica, when you talk about DB and we're talking about the presence that she has, and I think Sammy, the same situation, right? Like, if you can say whatever about if is the middle word of life, whatever it is, but this team is 2 blown fourth quarter leads away from being 500 right now. We're having a very different discussion right now. Who's to say that if you have that veteran presence steadying on the court that you aren't making – because usually when you blow a lead like that, one play goes differently, the entire game plays out differently. Now, that happened. It's in the rear view. Those games can't be gotten back. You can't win those games based off these ifs, but you can look forward and say, when this team finds itself in similar predicaments, how can they avoid the same outcome? One, it's the group that's available. You play who's in front of you, you play who's available for you. But when you get those veterans back, when you get the version of DB that DB wants to be, those issues are going to not be as prevalent, or you would hope that they won't be as prevalent. So it's important to toe the line of not making excuses, but providing the context to understand this is why some of these things happened, and this is how this team can be a much better version of itself just based on having everybody at their disposal.
I think that matters a lot when you're talking about projecting what a team can be and not just looking at them in their present iteration. I don't think it's fair to assess or assume a team is going to be what they are now in game 34, game 40 of the season, game 42 of the season, heading into what might potentially be a playoff type situation. The regular season is a marathon. It's a journey. And it's that because there's just so many games to glean things from, so many things for teams to learn about themselves from. Obviously, for the Mercury, they got off to the slowest start in the WNBA. That's not expectations for them, but what is expectation for them is to show to be that team later in the season that they expect to be, to hopefully then continue on with the successes they showed to have in the postseason last year. So there's work to do there, but to the points that both of y'all are making, having DeWanna closer to the role that she's likely going to be in for the rest of the season, and then naturally adding Sammy to everything that they already have worked to start to establish over this 2-game stretch, which she probably won't be back for at least probably another 2 weeks or so, just based off of that 3 to 5 or that 4 to 6 week window that they gave us for injury designation. That helps a lot. Like, reinforcements are on the way for them, and I think one of the reinforcements is DeWanna just kind of rediscovering her own game to then add to when we might potentially see Kalia and Alyssa Thomas back in tomorrow's game at Golden State.
And before we go to the break, I want to be given the opportunity to honk Mac's horn. And I don't really like the way that came out of my mouth. It was kind of an accident, but nonetheless, honk, honk.
I knew what you meant.
Thank you. Shout out to Gil for knowing what I mean every time. But Natasha Mack has, at the bare minimum, because I don't want to, what's the saying, count my chickens before they hatch or whatever. But right now, Natasha Mack has my money for at least the most improved on the Phoenix Mercury's roster. And we'll talk about more than that later in the season. But again, chickens hatch, blah, blah, blah. Eggs are laid.
Talk about and campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm not trying to start no campaign too late. So I'm here on the bus, seat number 1, Gil seat 2,
on the bus or on the truck?
Seat 3, and Kevin is driving. I don't know why I said his name like that, but nonetheless.
Shout out Kevin.
Kevin.
It's like K''EVIN.
Wow.
Kevin.
It's like the Russian spelling of my name.
Or that.
Sure.
But obviously against the Seattle Storm, another Natasha Mack double-double, 16 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, let me say that again really, really quickly. 1, 2, 3 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
And then she shows out again with 16 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal and a block versus the Portland Fire. Just a couple of really solid performances from Natasha Mack. And it's one of those things where she is really showing the confidence that has grown within her over the last 2.5 years with the Phoenix Mercury. She trusts herself within the system. She knows she's in the right places in terms of what the play is that they're trying to execute. And she knows that she can make the shot that she wants to make. It's not a guessing game anymore. She knows that she can do it, and she's just going out in there and getting it done. Natasha Mack has really consistently been the primary rebounder for the Phoenix Mercury. Granted, versus the Portland Fire, it's looked a little different just because when you're in the absence of Alyssa Thomas, you do automatically go into a rebound by committee mode, in my professional opinion. And I think that's kind of shows in the numbers. Like, they're not super uneven as opposed to normal, where it's Natasha Mack with 10 and then AT with 8 and the rest of them follow suit with 3 or 4. You're seeing 4 or 5 consistently kind of across the board. And so I think that kind of shows in Natasha Mack's numbers versus the Fire. But I think above all else, like, it really goes back to the confidence thing for me with her. And she's talked about it in this offseason. She talks about it as the season goes on. But, like, her confidence has grown so much. And it just is really showing with where she's out on the floor.
Yeah, confidence comes from work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can have people say everything under the sun about you being great, about they think so highly of you, about what your potential is, about you can have people point out on film, or you can you just look like a monster. That is all awesome. That is all sensational teamwork, and like all of that stuff matters a ton. Nothing's going to matter more than Natasha Mack putting in that work, including her off-season regimen, playing overseas and getting that experience, but also being honest with herself and saying, okay, if I'm going to be playing for a team that has championship aspirations, what are the things that I have to do non-negotiably? Rebound the basketball, talked about last season, outside of the historic offensive rebounding rate that Angel Reese had, guess who was right there with her? Number 2 was Natasha Mack. Going to this season, I can't remember exactly where she is at this present moment, but through the first like 5 or 6 games, she was top 5 in offensive rebound rate. She's doing her thing on the defensive glass as well. So rebounding on both ends is one big thing. Gaining possessions for her team. Number 2, the defensive impact. If you're going to be a big, you're going to be guarding a lot of actions because the matchup that you have is usually going to be setting a lot of screens. You don't want Alyssa Thomas to have to be wearing as many hats as she's capable of when she doesn't need to. AT's been at her best defensively since she's got to Phoenix when she shared the floor with Natasha Mack. That is not by accident. Natasha's been sensational, especially in guard and pick and rolls. Her footwork is impeccable now. She understands kind of the timing and angles and ways she can use her length to slow ball handlers down while not conceding that leverage to the roller as the roller's trying to get to the rim. Plays too as well as many in the W have. I think that speaks a lot to just, again, the confidence and growth. Understanding that she can make more aggressive decisions, knowing that she can make up for those things just off of that confidence building up. So shout out to Natasha. Those are the 2 things I think more than anything else, and then the effort, energy things, the blue-collar stuff, rim running, getting a 50-50 ball. She does all of that. In addition to that, though, 5 for 6 from Midi in the win over Portland. 5 for 6 outside of the paint for Natasha Mack. There were no floaters. These were pull-ups. Pull-ups. And she was barely touching the rim, let alone the net as it was going through. That is obviously an instance that's only going to show when you're not playing with Kalia Copper and Alyssa Thomas. But the fact that she could just so quickly pivot to that, and it's not like, all right, she knocked down like 2 or 3. 5. She knocked down 5 of those. That's the type of confidence and space that she's operating in, but she's not getting that while neglecting her kind of roots in terms of those other dynamics of play. She's in a great space right now. She is the team's X factor for many reasons, and I think this more than anything that no one else can replicate the things that she does with the activity levels that she brings.
I want to point out what
I just
Laura
really
said.
quick want to say 5 for 6 from the manure strip of all places.
Nate
Manure
smiled.
strip?
I think Shane asked the question in the post game about the middies. And Nate was like, you know how much I love the mid range. Yeah. So that just speaks to, again, just the green light he's giving her, that artistic, that kind of creative freedom. It all comes from her confidence and the work put in.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, that's what Laura said right there. She said, "Luck takes work," and
sure.
I think right in tune with that is kind of what we say all the time. The basketball finds energy. So when we talked, even when the season wasn't going well, and not like it's going well yet, but when things were really bad, we've talked so much about her activity and staying around the action. And I could say activity and action, but like in doing all of that, like good things are going to happen for you if you play the right way. And I think that's been my biggest takeaway game to game. The effort is sustained. Obviously, she holds herself to a very high standard. And when she doesn't play well, she will come out on social media and let us know, hey, look, I'm better than that. She will be very, like, I think that's a big part of growth as well, is the accountability and the understanding of what you are expected to bring to the table. And she has that as well. So I think that good things are going to continue to happen for her because she's going to continue to work hard. She's going to continue to play hard, and good things happen for those people who do those things because you get out what you put in, and she's getting out what she's putting in.
Okay, guys, what do you think of a quick break here on the PHNX Mercury podcast? And then after, we talk about how the defense turned into offense for the Mercury versus the Flyer. Is everyone okay with that? I'm sure Steven's got some numbers for us. I could be wrong today, but
Let's do it.
I think
Let's do
that's
it.
probably the case. Okay, let's have a quick break here on the PHNX Mercury podcast. Be sure to leave a like, 5-star review, thumbs up, whatever you get your podcast, and we will be right back after this quick break. Guys, do you know what I got today?
What's that?
I got
Circle K?
gas. I did. I got gas for $4.24. And I'll be honest, that's the cheapest I've paid in calendar. Tell me when the last time I paid under $3 for gas was. I don't know, but at least today was $4.24, and I was so happy. And you want to know why I got it for $4.24? Because I'm an Inner Circle member, and I save 5 cents every single time I pull up to that pump. And every second time I pull up to the pump to get my gas, I walk inside, I get my 79-cent Polar Pop, and it's always good vibes in the Circle K. You can be like me. Join the Inner Circle. You can get 79-cent Polar Pops, 99-cent Frosters, buy 2, get 1 free Monsters, buy 2, get 1 free Celsius, 25 cents off a gallon when you buy 3 Coke products in a month. That's not even hard. That's literally not even hard. Don't you guys know they have like cream soda Coke now? Like there's so many options. Just go buy some, boom, buy it 3 times. Now you get 25 cents off a gallon. I don't know what there is to complain about. 2 for $6 Red Bulls. I wasn't aware I could freely talk about Red Bulls here on this podcast, but I'm so happy to do so. You can be like me and walk in every single morning, get your 2 for $6 Sea Berry Red Bulls, and then you're a nice person for the rest of your day. Your boss doesn't complain. You don't complain. You don't go home sleepy. What's there to complain about, guys? Absolutely nothing. Anyways, you can join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. They are my best friends. Honestly, above all else, Circle K. If I don't have any friends, I know Circle K. Something happened to them. But Mountain America Credit Union, the official home of the Phoenix Mercury card. Get these elite cards from the official credit union of the Phoenix Mercury, available as both credit and debit cards. Even better, take advantage of the special checking and credit card promotion. Only for Phoenix Mercury fans, get a $200 bonus when you open up a Mercury credit card and a MySal checking account. No annual credit card options are available as low rate, cashback, or rewards card options. MySal checking accounts offer benefits like telehealth access, loan rate discounts, and mobile phone protection. What else could you need, to be honest?
Can't think of much else.
I know. W's in the chat all the way around. Mountain America Credit Union is here to guide you forward on your financial journey. Get your Mercury card today. Score your $200 bonus. Visit macu.com/Mercury200 to learn more. Insured by NCUA. Membership required based on eligibility. This limited time offer ends December 31st and can be withdrawn or changed at any time. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply. Loans on approved credit. Boom. Wow. We should get to the super chat real quick before I forget. My good pal, Classic Stang Lover says, "Let's go Wings." I don't think I'm wearing the Merc jersey right now. I don't think I'm wearing the Wings jersey either, but I let's hope my favoritism isn't showing. Sup, Merc fans? He gave for $1.99, and then another $1.99. He says, "1 win away from Thundersticks." I know that's right. I know that's right. I'm so excited. Come on, please, Mercury. I know the Valkyries is an uphill battle, but please do me a solid. Do the viewers a solid, and give me the Thundersticks. At this point, if you don't give me the Thundersticks, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to be very sad. And I literally told Gil, like, what's the opposite of a Thunderstick? A sad stick. No one wants a sad stick. They want Thundersticks. So, please.
Wow.
Gil's like, why did you have to remind me you ever said that?
I almost forgot that was a thing.
Wow.
But
you were like,
reminded me.
man, yeah, it was so embarrassing. You're like, I really hope I forget.
I thought it was like a riddle
this.
because it was before you joined after the game last week. I was like, But then I obviously got it wrong. So
it was actually like a really long time ago. Like that was like game 4 or 5.
I thought that was last Monday.
Wow.
I don't think so. I was in studio when I said that because you looked at me like I was about to steal your car tire, and I was like, I'm not doing that.
Maybe it was the Sparks game then, because that would have been the only time that we were in here and you weren't. So
#RIP. Gil forgot my jokes, everybody. I guess.
No, I tried to forget it, but I didn't forget it.
Wow.
You know, leave it to Gil and Steven to forget my jokes. I don't really blame them. I make a lot of them. You know, it's fine. But was that Friday? Yeah, it was Friday. The Mercury forced 22 turnovers, generated 23 points off of them. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that is a season high for the Phoenix Mercury in terms of turnovers forced and points off turnovers. I could be wrong, especially about the latter, but I'm sure you guys will let me know. This was one of those games where I felt the Phoenix Mercury's identity really showed through. I've kind of hated to be this person that like keeps talking about defense when the defense has kind of been lacking as much as it has. But when you think back to training camp, you think back to the first 5 games of the season, what was every single press conference about? Defense. And so it's obviously what this team values. It's obviously how this team anticipates being able to win games. And so aggressive help, rotations, confidence, like you guys said, like trusting that your teammate is going to be in the place that they're going to be, all turn into transition opportunities for the team. And like if you're going to be climbing back into even screw playoff conversations, climbing back to 500, that's going to be the way that they're doing it. Not by playing to an identity that the other team wants you to be, but by playing to the identity that you are. And that's what we kind of have seen over the last 2 games with the Mercury.
Yeah, that's definitely where it starts on defense. The Mercury in the franchise's history is a defensive-minded franchise, and in this current era, the post-Diana Taurasi, Brittany Griner era, they've embraced that identity through and through. You add Alyssa Thomas, your team is going to care a whole lot about defense.
They better.
Or else. Yeah, you add AT, and it's just a cloud of or else on the defensive end, and rightfully so. There hasn't been a team that's significantly offensive minded that has been middling or less than middling on the defensive end on the W side that has won a championship. That's a consistent kind of common denominator there. So that all matters for sure. Coming to that game against Portland is known as a team that can speed teams up with the way that they play on offense as well as defense, but offensively in particular, they find very creative ways to open up pockets of the court to get downhill. You start with Carla Late, you look at Bridget Carlton, you look at a handful of the other pieces that they have on their roster. They have many pieces that can find creative ways to get downhill. Look on the other side, the inverse side for the Mercury, talk about setting tones. No other than Monique Akoa-Makani. Now, Monique is someone that should have made an all-W team last season. The fact that she did not is an atrocity among many other things, considering how great the Phoenix Mercury were defensively. Yes, Alyssa Thomas was a lot of that. Yes, Natasha Mack was probably the second rung and how important that side of the ball grew to be for them. But the probably 2B to Natasha Mack's 2A, which me and Kevin did an extensive 25-some-odd minute film session looking at those two defensively, was Monique Akoa-Makani. The things that she can do defensively to anybody, it's unique to her size, to her position defensively, and just to her general position as well. You probably can't find another better guard defender in the W than Monique Akoa-Makani consistently from this past season that happened to this current season that's happening at the moment. The things she does to keep them to coverage, it's second to none. And I think the activity that she can compile on top of that, not just for herself, but for others, is what really helps them get into their defensive bag and be that team in potential that they can be on that end of the floor. There was so many possessions where Mac was able to get a steal or someone else was able to get a deflection late in the clock. They either forced a shot clock violation or got them off in the transition that started with things that will never get box score recognition from Monique that put them in position to do those things. Carla Lake wants to use an early offense pick and roll. Monique works to not just force her to not be able to use the screen, but also forces her to stay to the covers they want, which is keeping the ball to the outer third of the court. Late has to eventually use the screen going out to the outer third, tries to get middle, and as she tries to get middle and make a pass to the roller, because Monique has controlled the tempo of the parameters, that next pass gets deflected from Mac, and now they're off to the races. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Not getting to the offense you want because she's just stifling at the point of attack. And she's already through, I think, 5 games played now with the team, proving her worth and then some. Kevin, we can go ahead and get the screenshot up of her defensive impact for the team. So just through 5 games, their defensive rating when she's on the court is a 98.4, which is the equivalent of second in the WNBA. Now, without her, their 10th ranked defensive rating of 108.8 drops down to 13th in the W when she's not on the court at that 110.6 mark. So that's just a small sample size of the larger impact that she's had. Simply put, their arguably the best defense when she's been on the court this season. And that says a lot considering one of the games mixed in there was a 100-point game that they conceded to the Minnesota Lynx just two games ago, 2 games removed from that. For those numbers to be held up that strongly when it factors in that game, and then she's also only been around for 5 games and they're at 11 games played now, that says a lot about the things that she's done to kind of fortify the identity that Erica spoke to and what it is they're working towards in terms of the defense, helping the rest of their game kind of make more sense and them starting to show to be the team that we expect them to be more.
And she's so fun to watch on that end of the floor. It's not just the know-how, it's the want to. And you see players get going when they see a three-pointer go in, or they get a layup, or they get a transition bucket, or they score over you. She gets going when she makes life difficult for you on the defensive end. That's what gets everything else going. And you talk about a defensive identity a team having. You talk about people upholding a standard on that end of the floor. You need players with that mentality and attitude, and it shows in the numbers because that is infectious. Like, you have to match that energy if you're going to be on the court with that person, or else it's going to look really bad if you're not playing like that. So I think that that's something that I always notice when I watch her on the court, when I watch her on the defensive end of things, just how much that gets the rest of her game flowing, how that energy goes through. And ultimately, you know, it feels like buzzwords because we're saying, I talk about energy and activity and stuff, but when you are a team that is up against it, there's no two ways about it. You are 4 games under 500 past the first quarter mark of the season. You have to do those things to get the tides to turn back in your direction, because you cannot afford to not be the aggressor. You cannot afford to not be the team that's playing with more desperation or more energy, especially on the defensive end of the floor. So having a catalyst like that is key for where this team is going to try to get, given where they are right now.
Yeah, I think you hear a lot of people call it like reckless abandon. I think that's very complimentary and very apt for what Monique Akoa-Makani is as an individual piece and identity, but also what she brings to a team that hangs their hat on that reckless abandon. You can't be a good defensive team if you don't have reckless abandon. And Mo wears that quality as much as anybody not named Alyssa Thomas on his roster on the defensive end. That says a lot about why she finds the ways to have success to the extent that she does. And again, we're talking about for Mo in a game where she had 3 steals and also had a block, that the box score hardly does justice to the true impact on the game that she had. What she did was oftentimes take their primary ball handlers out of the actions that they want to get to with the rhythm that they want. And what that naturally did over the course of the game is just kind of make the game be played on Phoenix's terms. And when they're playing the game on their terms, even if, like on Friday's win, if it's without Kalia Copper and Alyssa Thomas, they can still find ways to be successful. Nate talked about last season multiple times, but in this most recent post game, their goal is always to hold a team under 20 points per quarter. They did that in 3 of the 4 quarters, and then the only one they didn't do was in the 4th quarter, which is where they still kind of played the game on their terms. You can give up one of those when over the course of a game, the other 3, you're holding the team to 17, 16, 15 points in the quarter. You give yourself that leeway. You give yourself that wiggle room, margin for error. It's all about the defense for them. Monique is as integral to that end as anybody on the roster because of the position that she plays, and I don't think they can have a better player playing that particular position. Last thing, just a watching tip. When you're watching the Mercury on defense, just watch how many times Monique actually gets screened. Like, when you're defending point guards, you're often going to be tasked with navigating all types of screens and handoffs. Watch how many times she gets hit to the extent where she can't stay attached to her matchup. That kind of navigation ability is something that's very, very it's kind of intricate and very unique. Not something that everybody has to the extent that she does. And again, it all comes back to your point, Gil, of that want to. She cares a lot. She wants to a lot, all the time, actually. That's why she finds her way into such great success there.
Really quick, am I allowed to take this off course for half a second to just ask you guys? Because I haven't asked one single time about the NBA Finals, like who you guys have picked. Do you guys have anyone picked? Or are you rooting for either team?
Rooting, I would not say I am not rooting. I'm rooting for a great series. My picks, I picked the Spurs to win tonight. I picked the Knicks to win the series. So there's the disappointment that just showed on your face after I said that. I just went with my gut.
I went Knicks to win. I went Knicks to win the first. I think it was the first 2 games.
Yeah.
I ended up doing the first 2 games, and unfortunately, I was right on that. Spurs, the series started 2 games ago, y'all.
Yeah.
Just a reminder.
I think they realized it started then.
Yeah, they're there. They arrived.
I said the Knicks would kind of dictate early and that the Spurs would figure it out late. I didn't expect them being down 0-2 going to game 3 though. So they got a lot to figure out. Sounds like they're doing a good job so far, I guess.
Very physical game 3. They have taken an early lead. But, I mean, it's MSG. It's only very early, so we'll see.
That's cute. It's not the first time
Exactly.
in the series.
Exactly. Every game they've lost to the Knicks this year, they've had a double-digit lead. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
What? Every single one all year?
they've lost 4 times. Every time the Spurs have lost to the Knicks this year, which is 4 times, they led by double digits. So
Wow,
no lead is safe. That's just basketball.
That's the one thing about the NBA though, like I will say is like there's so many like samples to go off of, like as opposed to the WNBA where like you might only play a team 2 times, like where the sample is a lot smaller. You could be missing Kalia Copper for both games, then boom, like what's the sample even mean? Not much, right?
Nothing
So
to
it's
learn
like
from it.
it's so different in the NBA, and it's like a love and hate situation. I've talked to both of you guys before about like my commitment issues with the NBA, and it's just like 80 games. Holy
Breaking
crap,
news,
like,
Erica. Breaking news. Carter Bryant has just hit a 3-point bucket in Madison Square Garden in an NBA Finals setting.
If he can't get the Wildcats to a Final Four, at least get Wemby to a title. All right. Let me relax.
And a block. All right, I'm done. But that is crazy. A block of a 3 for Carter as well.
Stop. Oh my gosh. I'll pull for every Wildcat in the NBA, but like Carter Bryant, are you guys serious? Like, how can you not pull for that guy? He's just
go sugar cookie.
Yeah, he's full of aura.
Go Stingray.
Like, oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
I can't even look at the chat
crazy.
right now. It's making me so exasperated with excitement right now. I can't even like talk about it. Anyways, okay. Sorry guys for getting off track. I had to ask you guys about it,
Yeah, of course.
But as we kind of like look ahead toward the next little bit of the schedule, obviously they have to play the Valkyries on the road, which we already know how Valhalla I'm going to call it because that's what it is for the opposing tournament, or the opposing team is hell. But the Valkyries are a really good team. They're really good defensively. Obviously, the rest of the season doesn't get any easier per se. But as you kind of look ahead, like, and you think about how this team can continue to either A, play without AT and Ka to kind of make it work for the time being, or B, have AT and Ka return to the lineup. Like, what do you guys look to see in terms of improvement so that the team can keep winning? I want to pull out the Thundersticks.
Yeah, kind of on that point, injury report for tomorrow. Alyssa Thomas with her left calf is listed as probable. Kalia Copper with her left hip is listed as questionable. Tammy Whitcomb with the team, but still out with her left knee arthroscopy. And then on the Valkyrie side, Ileana Rupert is not with the team because she's pregnant. So congratulations to her. Hoping for a successful and healthy pregnancy for her and baby and family. But that's the gist of Game 3. That's the injury report, rather, for Game 3 of the Mercury 4-game road trip. So it looks like Kalia and Alyssa are trending towards playing tomorrow in Valhalla. That's a good sign because they need those two. But I think if we're contextualizing it, for those two in particular, your team just came in after you lost 6 in a row without y'all and won. You can say opponent, you can say all this other stuff, cool. Bottom line is, in a situation where the team was in the water without a life raft or any type of flotation devices to help them from drowning, the team wouldn't have figured it out without y'all. Now, obviously, this is not sustainable for them to continue to win without you, but you can't come in and take away from that love and feel and rhythm that they established to be able to go and get that win in Portland on Friday. So I'm very curious to see the approach that those two have in particular to adding to what it was that the rest of the team was able to kind of establish without those two on the floor. Now, naturally, obviously, they were both very engaged on the bench, and I think that was another telltale sign of buy-in and how much people actually like each other, to your point. Yeah. But you got to come in and contribute in ways that not just help you all individually, but that's going to add to what this team needs from everyone else as well. So it's going to be a fun test and challenge for a team that got the best of them in another fourth quarter, Game 2 of the season, a game that the Mercury probably look back and say, hey, we should have had that one.
And they were in a weird spot, too.
Yes. On a back-to-back, all of that stuff, yes. So all of that matters, and I imagine they're gonna have a little bit of we got to go get this one to atone for at least a little bit of that first one we lost, but also to keep in lockstep with Golden State in terms of the Commissioner's Cup standings as well, because Phoenix is quietly 2-1. Now, yes, the
one was a big one,
and the points the point differential is super duper negative even still after the wins against Seattle and Portland, as we would expect for it to be when you do what you did against Minnesota. So the one thing you can control in terms of that is, can you just make sure you win enough games to give yourself a chance?
Yep.
And Valhalla, it's another chance. Now, they just got done losing to Las Vegas on Saturday.
Yep.
So they're going to have, and that was a game that they feel like they should have won.
Yeah.
There's going to be a bit of a chip on their shoulder naturally, because that's how they always play as well. You got to come in and just kind of dictate things to them and kind of do it for a full 40, unlike you didn't do that first time around against them.
Couple thoughts. First, you can answer this because I want you to correct me if I'm not misspeaking. Has anyone said like when Alyssa or Kyle got hurt or when it happened? Mm-mm. So my second thought is, I wonder if this hip is something that Kyle's been trying to play through, and maybe that has an impact on how she's been playing.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want to build in excuses for anybody, but we always try to watch things and try to diagnose, not as doctors, but diagnose why things may be the way they are. And maybe some of the inefficiency and maybe some of the struggles could be attributed to that. Mm-hmm. And what we talked about last week was like, okay, if they can't play Friday, that means they go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, without playing. They've had 5 days in between the last time they played in a game. Mm-hmm. That could be just what the doctor actually ordered for them to get back to feeling up to the way that they need to feel to play in a tough environment against a tough team. Yeah. And we talked about the issues that guards present this team, and we talked about the issues that Veronica Burton particularly provides to this team. And we just finished talking about Monique Akoa-Makani and what she could do defensively at that point of attack. So I have my eyes on that. I've also noticed a trend of when bigs are engaged and active, they feast on the glass against this Valkyries team. Okay, let's build on it, Mac. Like what you've been doing, this activity that you've had, the double-double that you had Wednesday, can you do that again? Can you go out there? Can you be the one that dominates the glass? Can you be the person that imposes their will in the interior? I think those are a couple of keys that I will have my eyes on for tomorrow night's game that could sway this into Phoenix's favor.
Sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure out how much a membership costs for the PHNX YouTube channel, and I actually don't have any idea.
It's like $4.99 a cup of coffee.
$4.99.
It's still $4.99?
I think so. For the membership to the channel, not for diehard. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's like $5.
Oh, great. Well, for $5, you can be like me. You can get an 8-month chat. I won't make the same joke I made at 7 months, but nonetheless.
I almost forgot that one too. You just reminded me.
I don't know how you could ever forget that one. That one was rent-free in my own brain. You know what I mean? I wake up in the morning, I'm like, dang, Erica, I can't believe you said that in 4K for everybody in the world.
You thought that was it.
That's okay.
It's okay.
I knew that the 48 people watching the channel weren't ops, but, the rest of them, I don't know, So be like me, become a member. You get a little, what the frick is it called?
Badge?
Milestone chat every single month. And then you can give us a free super chat. You don't have to pay for it. And then we have to talk about whatever you're saying, even if I don't like it. So I think that's a great deal. $5 to make Erica talk about something she might not want to talk about. What else would you even use your $5 for? I want to talk predictions for the next 2 games. Is everyone okay with that?
Let's do it.
Okay. Tomorrow, obviously, against the Golden State Valkyries, and then on Thursday against the Dallas Wings. I don't want to go first. I don't care who does go first, but I don't want to do that.
I'll go quickly, because I know I'll keep it short and sweet. I think tomorrow is a hard-fought L, but then I think the trip finale Thursday is a gratifying and satisfying win to finish the road trip 3-1 and feel much better about yourself than you did when you left.
I think they finished this 2-2.
2-2.
I think they finished it 2-2. As quiet as it's kept, everybody's been talking about Dallas and the lack of defense. Guess what they've been doing the last couple games?
Defending.
A little bit of defense. They've been playing a little bit of defense. For a team that has the offensive potential and individual talents and shot making and playmaking and screen setting and offensive rebound, like all of these things that they have, if they're doing their defense to a certain level, yeah, exactly, you're running out of fingers. That's a really good basketball team, and they're at the crib on top of that too. It's gonna be tough. I think these next two games will probably both be very closely played. It might just come down to fourth quarter execution. I know, Andy, I'm sorry I had to say that too, but
keep it real.
I have to assess the team off of what they've shown to be so far this season, and they're starting to get closer to being a 500 team. The schedule doesn't get any easier for them. There's going to be some work to kind of find a little bit of, okay, this is what worked without Kai and AT. Let's figure out what we can get to work with, that what worked when they were without those two to work when they were with those two. I feel like they're finding their footing. But like we talked about on our last episode, it's not just going to be you go 2-8 to start, or 2-8 to start the season. You end up getting another win after that, and then you just figure it out and you just run the table the rest of the way. It's going to be a little bit of resistance. There's going to be some highs and lows mixed in there. But as long as you're kind of striking a better accord for your style of play, you can get there. So I think they finished this road trip 2-2. These first two wins are very important. And I think they're going to be some competitive games being played in these last two that will give them a chance. And I think it might ultimately just come down to what that fourth quarter execution looks like.
Shout out to Andy and Laura. First, Andy boos SPG and then got gifted a membership. So see what happens. You boo SPG,
hey,
good things might happen. Even booed the man on his birthday.
That's true.
And became a member after that.
It'd be like that.
But Laura is the GOAT. Appreciate that.
That is crazy. And, I don't really want to acknowledge this, but my guy, Classic Zanglover with a Fire Gill, and Fire Gill for what? For forgetting my jokes?
No, it was for me. It was for me picking the Merc to win Thursday.
I'll be honest. This Classic Zanglover is a Wings fan.
And I know.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
I picked up on that. I picked up what he was
Thank
putting
God
on.
you did, because I low-key got mad. I was like, Classic Zanglover, what the heck? Gill's great.
Yeah, and I figured it out. I picked out what was being put down.
I'm not gonna lie, this is putting me in an uncomfortable position. Okay, I won't fibulate, but nonetheless, I do think the Mercury lose tomorrow to the Valkyrie. I think it's gonna be a tough game. I think it's, to both of you guys' point, I think it's gonna be close. But I do think they will end up dropping the game ultimately. But I do think they will beat the Dallas Wings. Whether I'm right or wrong is yet to be determined. And to be honest, I'm hearing through the grapevine rumors, the streets are saying that allegedly we might be doing a conjoined podcast with the DLS Wings crew.
That was Mike doing a crossover.
Can't confirm or deny, but the streets are in fact saying. So be on the lookout for that. I'm really excited. I love the DLS Wings crew. They're cool. They're fun. They laugh at my jokes. Yeah, get fell on a tree. You know what's happened? Sometimes people are wrong. Sometimes people are incorrect.
Was that a subliminal shot at us? They laugh at our jokes. Were you saying they laugh at my jokes? Are you trying to hint at something?
You guys do laugh at my jokes. What do you mean?
Okay, I was just making sure. I thought you were trying to your jokes have been a topic of discussion. I thought we were being called out.
No, but even over there, sometimes I'll joke about Dungeons and Dragons and they still laugh. That's pretty cool, don't you think? I get to be myself, talk about D&D sometimes, talk about how my old days as a dungeon master. Do you even know what that means? That's cool.
I never played myself, but I know what you're talking about.
We could have a PHNX Mercury D&D day is all I'm saying,
Yeah. For sure.
See, this is what I mean. Okay, all I'm saying is they would play D&D with me. You guys probably wouldn't, and that's fine. Know your roles. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying.
I know my role. I
don't even know what that is.
Dungeons and Dragons?
Oh, still don't know what it is, but I'm glad I know what the acronym stands for.
I got you, bro. I got
you. Steven, it's actually
what is that? Shout out.
It's a completely unfun role-playing game. Okay, that's all. It's really.
I wear my unqualities proudly.
I feel like unks play it more than non.
I must say, it's been around for like decades.
Oh, that game. Okay, I thought it was something new. I remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
So it's come back it's one of those cycle things. Oh.
That D&D.
And I know what that is.
Did you ever watch?
Why is it being called D&D? Is my thing. Everything doesn't need an acronym. And I know I'm saying that when our company name is PHNX, but
that's
everything
different.
is very different.
It's not an acronym. It's just a short.
It's just short. Yeah.
Fair.
See?
Fair. Yeah, everything doesn't need to be condensed to. We don't got to do that.
I always say D&D. It's too
Spelling
much to roll
matters.
off the tongue.
Spelling
It
matters.
does. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, see, this is what I mean. That's what I mean. Okay, it could just be really fun. Is all I'm gonna say. Rumors, streets are saying, whatever you want to say. Nonetheless, leave a like, 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. I'm really excited that we're back this week. I want to give a huge shout out to Gil and Steven for holding down the fort last week when I was fallen ill. They did
We're
a
glad you're
great
feeling
job. And if you didn't tell them that they did a great job, watch yourself. Because you might not be able to watch me because I'm in roughly 480K, but I'm watching you, okay? So go tell them in the pod from last Thursday, go in the little comments and say, great job, period. Send tweet, okay?
Only if you mean it. Only if you actually mean it.
Some people laugh at jokes when they don't mean it, Gil. You know, it's okay.
I don't know who would do that. What kind of person would do that?
You walked into it, you know? You walked into that
Fair.
one. You asked for it. But classic Stang Lover with a buzzer beating 199 that says fire Erica. Fine.
No exclamation marks after that one though. So
That was it meant that.
that was intentional. There's no way that wasn't intentional. Gil had 2 exclamation marks after his, and
then I got an I'm JK, which I was like, it's all love.
there's
See?
none after this one though.
Ooh.
See?
I don't know.
See?
Crazy.
Hey, Kevin, press the cop button.
See?
Guys! Oh my God! I'm literally gonna
Don't be mad at us. That's be mad at classic Stang Lover.
And then you have him hit the T though. I just feel like that's crazy.
There is
That's
some tea there.
diabolical.
There's definitely some tea there.
Shout out Bees in the chat too.
I'm #hurt. #real hurt. But nonetheless, screw
It's all
Lee Ball,
love,
as
always.
some may say. Yeah, Gil, you're right. You're right. Again, rarely am I. Hit the road. Hit the road. I will not do. I don't want to hit the road. I want to stay home.
Wow.
I'm watching the finals
Hit
after
the right
this, so I
turn.
will not be hitting the
Wow.
road. Shout out to you though. Anyway, shout
Speaking
out
of
to all of you guys
shout
who
outs,
joined.
Real quick shout out to the Mercury game plan on Friday. The offense without its 2 best players are naturally their 2 best offensive players as well to go and figure it out against that team. That wasn't by accident. They did some really good things adapting over the course of the game to the fire pressure. Now you got to put those things together with your 2 best players back. So shout out to them for the game plan, and shout out to the players in particular, DeWanna Bonner
Executing it.
and Monique Akoa-Makani up with their playmaking at the helm. Low turnover game against that defense is not easy to do, especially with the amounts of pressure they saw. They trusted the pass, and that trusting of the pass got them a win in tandem with the defense. So shout out to the coaching staff as well as Monique and DeWanna for that approach on Friday.
Well, guys, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been really fun. If you guys need anything in the meantime, you can follow Steven on Twitter at StevenPG3. You can follow Gil at GilMcGregor_. You can follow our super dope producer, Kevin, at KevoPost. You can also follow me at Erica Lee Day. That's Erica spelled with a K. You can also follow all of us together, hooting and hollering, at PHNX_Mercury on Twitter. In the meantime, don't do anything I wouldn't do, and we will see you guys on Thursday for a post-game edition of the PHNX Review Podcast. Bye!
We all silly like the mayor.